Saintess summons skeletons. By Morn. Chapter 671, Preparing for a Far-Off Promise. The enchantment controlling the wheel was extremely simple. It had two mana signals it could send, speed up and slow down, and the skeleton used them to make sure very few people ever won, much fewer than what one would expect just looking at the wheel. "I'll wager 1 token," Sofia told the skeleton when it was her turn, handing him a small gold ingot. "Just 1?" the skeleton asked. "Come on lady, you look a bit wealthier than that. Won't you feel stupid if the wheel lands on the 10 times jackpot and all you get for your exceptional luck is 10 tokens? "I don't mind, I'm just here to have fun, I don't need more money," Sofia answered with a shrug. "So, can I play?" "Alright, a 1 token spin for you," the skeleton said without much enthusiasm, spinning the wheel without even looking. The wheel spun and spun, until finally it slowed down enough that people could start to guess around where it was going to stop. Sofia was busy monitoring the skeleton's next move. He hadn't used the enchantment at all so far. "No way," one of the spectators exclaimed, "it might actually land on the 10 times. Such a waste. No. It will stop in the losing zone right before at this rate. I need to wait for the right time. But this placement is perfect for me." "Ah? He's speeding it up?" The skeleton had given the wheel a slight push, enough that it was now likely it might actually land on the 10 times prize, if it didn't overshoot. "Would you look at that," the skeleton said as the wheel slowed down more and more, "it looks like I was right on the money. Congratulations lady, you'll have a whole 10 tokens to your name." "The wheel hasn't stopped spinning yet," Sofia said, as it had yet to even enter the X10 quadrant. "I've done this enough to be able to tell," the skeleton answered, actually starting to slow down the wheel even more with the enchantment to make sure it was going to land perfectly in the center of the relatively small X10 prize. As everyone was watching with bated breath, the wheel spun until the arrow pointed at the X10. And it kept going, slowly making its way into the largest you lose section of the entire wheel. "Ugh, we don't even get to see a 10 times prize at all," a spectator complained. "Honestly, it might be better like this," another one commented. Meanwhile, the skeleton wheel spinner's jaw was agape as he failed to understand what was happening. He checked that his enchantment was active, sending in more mana to make the wheel slow down, yet it continued to inch forward at a snail's pace. "Wait! It might still hit the hidden prize," someone in the audience shouted, drawing in the attention of more onlookers. Fixated on the wheel, nobody except Sofia noticed the very uneasy body language of the skeleton, who was desperately dumping in more mana into the enchantment to try to stop the wheel. Sofia closely monitored his mana flow, and for each 10 point of mana spent to slow down the wheel, she spent 9 to speed it up. The skeleton attendant said nothing, but he was going crazy, grabbing his own jaw as he continued pumping more mana into the slowdown command. A futile attempt considering he was fighting against Sofia's mana reserves. The wheel slowly crawled past the huge you lose, and entered the hidden jackpot section. "No," the skeleton moaned while the crowd erupted in cheers. In a desperate attempt to save his marrow, he dumped all of his mana into the speed-up command, hoping for the wheel to gain just enough of a kick to go past the hidden prize and into the next losing section. But at the same time, Sofia was sending so much mana into the slowing command that the skeleton's struggle was like asking for a rock to start walking. The wheel was slowed down so much that even if he tried to manually spin it now it would not budge. The game was over, the arrow firmly pointing at the hidden prize. Sofia felt like she could see the skeleton's soul leave his bones as he stared at the wheel. "Thank you Mr. Skeleton," Sofia said as she walked up to him and grabbed his hands. "This was really fun. I can't wait to see what the hidden prize is. I'm so lucky." The skeleton was speechless, taking a step back, "And no, it's, Meanwhile, the crowd started chanting, "Hidden prize! Hidden prize! Hidden prize!" The skeleton pulled his trembling hands out of Sofia's, and he reached up to the small hidden prize section of the wheel, peeling off the enchanted paper and revealing the prize. "You won 10 million tokens. I'm dead," Sofia heard the skeleton mumble with a shaky voice as he stared at the prize like everyone else. "Of course," Sofia told him, giving him a slap on the shoulder, "you're a skeleton, man." Certainly, the poor skeleton was going to have a bad time, as Sofia knew the hidden prize was not actually meant to ever be won by anyone except fake players hired by the casino itself to make it look like people have a chance to win. "Can I get my prize now? FFF follow me." Sofia left the exchange desk with a confident smile on her face and a box full of crystal tokens. Her winning the hidden prize had caused quite a commotion among the casino's staff, but they had to give it to her no matter what, considering how many people had seen Sofia win. With her new fortune, Sofia looked around for her next victim, but was interrupted before she could find a suitable target. Crowy urgently flew in front of her face, signaling for her to follow. Sofia asked no question and ran after Crowy, soon arriving at an open space where Saint Tartaros was having a rather heated discussion with someone much shorter than him. "Oh shit, do I need to step in? Did you really have to break it? What kind of selfishness is this?" the tall orc with a deep frown chastised as he stared down at Cooley, who nonchalantly held his gaze with her hands on her hips. "If you really wanted to use the strength machine, you should have done so earlier, young man. What's done is done, I have no justification to give you." Sofia stood ready to jump in if Tartaros decided to attack, as after all, it said nowhere in the event description that killing each other was prohibited. Yet, to her surprise, the Saint of Strength's mana was calmer than his demeanor suggested, hinting that he was not preparing to fight. "Is your brain fried, you rabbit-eared barbarian? Doubling your points is something you do when you already have accumulated a lot, that is the entire point," an exasperated Tartaros complained. "Nay, it gave me an early start. Has served me well. Sorry that it ruined your plans, but that really isn't my problem now, is it?" Tartaros sighed, looking up at the ceiling. "Strength, give me the patience to deal with these people. Is your little tantrum over?" Cooley asked. "I'm going." "Wait!" Tartaros called out. "Nay? What now?" "Fight me," Tartaros said like it was an order. "Sorry? Listen boy, you wouldn't be the first saint I give a good spanking to, but this is a trial, I've got no more time to waste on you." 18 million tokens, Tartaros said, flames in his eyes, "that is what I have. I will bet everything I have, you bet everything you have, let us battle it out." "Right, he is that kind of freak." "Nah. I only have 3 millions for now, you know? That doesn't feel very fair to you." "Cooley. Why would you say that?" You make a good point," Tartaros conceded. "Still, you seem strong, and I have yet to battle a rabbit beastman. It would be remiss of me waste such an opportunity." Cooley seemed to hesitate, which was more than justified considering who the opponent was, and that her signature skill was now on cooldown. "An opportunity? What about a Lumion?" Sofia asked as she finally walked into the conversation. "Ever fought one?" "A Lumion?" Tartaros repeated. "Wait, are you not the Sofia? No need to make up a fake race, I have been waiting for this. Will you fight me?" "Yet. Sofia? Are you serious about this?" Cooley asked, bewildered at the sudden interruption. "Don't worry, Cooley. And there's nothing fake about Lumions, do you think my horns are for decoration or what?" "I have 10 million tokens," Sofia said, "not quite 18 millions, but I'm down for you to wager only 10. "Only 10? Forget it. I'll give you everything if you win, I do not care about some measly tokens." Tartaros boasted, finally a worthy opponent. "Really starved for a fight, hey? Can I play this to my advantage a bit more? Shall I go with a handicap to make it fair?" Sofia asked, which instantly got on the nerves of the Saint of Strength. "Are you mad? Come at me at full strength!" Tartaros shouted, clenching his fists. "If you insist. Let me use my first specialization, then." Parath. The tall abomination skeleton in shining armor appeared behind Sofia. It did not seem to scare off Tartaros in the slightest, in fact, it was quite the contrary. Chapter 672, Serious Punches. Unsurprisingly, the casino had a dedicated place to fight, and it was more like an entire coliseum than a simple arena. Sofia made it just in time to witness Morn separate a chimera's body from its last head, while an announcer skeleton gave announcements for the crowd of spectators. And for the 5th time in a row, the Saintess takes the win. Congratulations to all who bet on her, you have 10 minutes to collect your winnings until the next match. Cooley and someone else from Tartaros' team took it upon themselves to manage the business part of the duel and handle the wagers, so all Sofia had to do now was to wait. "Are you confident you can beat us?" she asked Tartaros as they both waited in the corridors of the Colosseum. "Confidence? I have never needed such feelings. Winning does not matter to me, after all," he answered, as he stood with his arms crossed, leaning his back against the wall. Winning doesn't matter to you. Sofia repeated, what does then? Strength. What an astute guess, Tartaros answered with a mocking snort, strength, yes. But more than that, progress. Attaining more strength, this is what I am after. Winning or losing is of little importance, I shall learn much from this fight either way. I can relate to that. It's no wonder that you would be chosen as Strength Saint. Why do you need the strength, though? Ahaha, Tartaros laughed lightly. Does a plant need a reason to grow? Does the sun need one to shine? Sofia frowned, so no reason, then? There isn't a single thing you hope to accomplish with all that strength you're accumulating. Oh, there are many things I wish to accomplish, he said with a sharp smile, I merely find joy in the pursuit itself. I need no accomplishments, I am the accomplishment. Sofia was stumped, her thoughts swirling, she recognized herself in Tartaros' philosophy more than she expected. After a bit, Tartaros gazed at her and broke the silence, your pursuit is not quite so straightforward, he asked. It's quite similar. All things considered, Sofia admitted, I have often chased strength out of necessity but it would be a lie to say that I have not been enjoying the process, no matter how excruciating. Now this is something I like to hear. I hope these words of yours will still ring true when I reach the top, that you may follow me there. What does it matter to you? There are plenty of other strong people at the top already, I am sure you're aware. They are probably watching us right now, for that matter. There are, but do they share the same drive? Will they keep trying to climb as they watch us from atop the lofty mountain? I fail to see how that matters to you, Sofia said with a raised brow. Tartaros grinned widely, showing his fangs. A blade rusts if it has nothing to cut. In a room outside of the casino's reality, a small group of people were scratching their heads. At the general silence, Mid sighed, I need to go make the arena's barriers stronger again, don't I? I swear, we should have just left the lunatic out of the pool. It's like this every time. Sofia and Perith were on one side of the Colosseum's arena, fully armored, Perith overlapping his own armor of light with Sofia's exoskeleton for the first time. They were not channeling any spell, as per the rules of the death match, but Sofia still had her 4 unlife runes up. Tartaros slowly and methodically stretched his body on the other side, wearing almost nothing. No weapon and no armor, all he had kept were enchanted short pants with a thick belt made of large white balls lined up together like a pearl necklace. He's almost naked and I'm here with multiple divine artifacts. I am going to feel so silly if I lose this. After a bit, Tartaros was done stretching, and the noise in the Colosseum gradually died down. It was not often that people suggested a death match by themselves, and the contestants looked serious, so everyone was eagerly waiting. Let me and Bookie handle the fight until the sanctified grounds are up. Perith slightly shook his skulls under the armor. No? All right, your call. I stay back line then. Bookie, be ready, paladins and high priest right away, we keep Pestle for later. The battle may now begin, the announcer shouted. Sofia had a terrible feeling. She used the toy box to freeze time right away. Fucking shit. Tartaros was there, his fist right in front of her face, in the stop time, she could actually clearly see the disturbance the orc had left as he moved, cutting a curved line through space, around Perith, to arrive straight to his target. It wasn't even teleportation, just pure, brute speed that had almost caught her off guard. He didn't do that on the first day. That better have a long cooldown. Mana heart hidden behind his belt. Unsurprising. Preparing at least 2 more spells, but it's too early to tell what kind. Can't gather anything more than this. This will be a quick battle, I can't hold anything back. Bookie, forget about the paladins. As soon as the time stop is over, summon the dwarf. We need to slow him down. Sofia prepared herself to cast multiple spells at once when the time freeze stopped. She would summon herself through both Tartaros and Perith to put herself out of harm's reach, fully activate Runeforged Overlord and start casting a star all at the same time. Alright. 3. 2. 1. Sofia disappeared right as Tartaros' fist collapsed on her face, creating a shockwave that displaced so much air that Sofia was sucked in, her back hitting Perith's chest. Perith teleported to Sofia to instantly turn around and face Tartaros again, using the chains of light to restrain him as he raised his sword. Behind his back, one of the rings of eyes stopped moving, Tartaros had already earned his first stack of judgment. The chains shot out from the ground as Tartaros spun around, but he was faster than they were, sending a flying kick toward Perith's chest. With his sword raised, he couldn't defend himself, but that was part of the plan, he didn't have to. From behind him Sofia, forcefully brought Tartaros' bones to a stop mid-air. The sanctified grounds flared up, their casting time much shorter than usual, and Perith's sword came down. It split the orc in half down the middle, crimson blood splattering everywhere, while the chains finally reached him and grabbed his locked limbs, pulling the two halves apart. The left half of Tartaros' body, where his mana heart was, struggled against Sofia's control of his bones. In the end, his muscles wands, shattering the bones to forcefully move as he grabbed the chains with one hand as they pulled him away and pulled on them. The chains broke, ripped off of the ground, and in the same move were sent flying at Perith's face, while the missing half of the orc's body explosively regrew. Perith dispelled the chains, while on Sofia's side, her mana quickly plummeted down, mostly drained by the skeleton dwarf holding a shovel appearing behind her. "Golden time, now!" she ordered as she tried to keep Tartaros' bones locked in place. For the second time, Tartaros overwhelmed her control, doing the same thing he had done at the start of the fight. He moved extremely fast, appearing in front of Perith. There was no defending against this. Tartaros punched a large round hole through the 2 layers of Perith's armor, erasing almost half of his skeleton from existence in a single strike. Hiding behind him, Sofia almost also died instantly, the one-hit protection from VPPV being the only thing keeping her alive as little more than a shadow of blood light around a fractured mana heart. Having appeared further away, the dwarf skeleton was mostly safe. He had been pushed back by the shockwave of the strike, but he used the rune-forged free flight to stay in the fight, his bones quickly enlarging and turning to gold. Perith struck back with his remaining arm, his sword morphing into a spiked gauntlet mid-punch. Sofia has lost control over her aura due to her sudden almost death, which left Tartaros free to move. He surgically blocked Perith's fist with a plam strike, sending both himself and Perith flying back. Out of nowhere, a golden coin pierced through Tartaros' skull, and he started to slowly turn to gold from his forehead. Finally, through all of this mess, Sofia managed to quickly pull Perith inside of the painted halls and kill herself by cancelling the Saintmancer's star cast and suffering the backlash due to not holding her scepter. The dwarf would have to survive for 3 seconds somehow, but Sofia would be back alive, and Perith would come back fully healed, as he missed about 40% of his health and healed 14.6% a second from Sofia's specialization boosted by his own. When Sofia came back to life, the dwarf was dead, and Tartaros was a golden statue riddled with holes, but he, unlike the dwarf, was still very much alive. Chapter 673, Skeleton Calling the Bones White. The golden statue of Tartaros was already showing cracks, he would be out shortly. Sofia's first reflex seeing this was to summon one of her mana pearls from crystallized and quickly gulp it down along with her own heart, the faster she could think the better against such a fast opponent. While she did this, she also unloaded large bone slates all around her. As Sofia transformed, Perith appeared a bit further away, fully healed, he grew in size as much as he could, and he immediately prepared to strike the saint again, this time with an absurdly large mallet, wide enough to flatten a house. The statue cracked open, a bloody and skinless Tartaros emerging from inside. He punched up at the incoming mallet. "I think not." Still mid-transformation, Sofia took control of Tartaros's bones, freezing him in place and bending his punching arm in an unnatural way. The oversized mallet of light crashed down onto the defenseless saint, reducing him to no more than a flesh paste on the Colosseum grounds. Yet, somehow, Sofia still had not gotten a murder notification. Perith's mallet morphed into a spear while Sofia's demonic transformation was finally complete. A small black bead shot out from the fleshy remains of Tartaros toward the opposite end of the Colosseum. His mana heart. Sofia wanted to regret her way to it and grab the damn thing, but she had yet to even recover the 10,000 mana points to do that. American Samoa. The start her mana regeneration lagged a bit behind when she transformed. It was a matter of half a second, but she hadn't even had that long. Perith, however, was very reactive and threw his spear at it, perfectly predicting the heart's trajectory. Not wanting this time to go to waste, Sofia endeavored to do something else, growing a bone hand from bone slates on the ground to recover the admin dagger which had flown off when she died prior. The hand flicked the dagger in Perith's direction, and it embedded itself at an angle into the back of his armor, right where Sofia wanted it. Black light shone from the mana heart as it escaped, and with a shockwave, magic expanded from it, explosively creating a new body for Tartaros. He reappeared in fetal position in the air, his body being reconstructed around the heart in an instant. It was fast enough that Tartaros had time to stretch out and grab the incoming spear before spinning around and sending it back toward Sofia, incurring a second stack of judgment. Sofia could have reacted in time to avoid the spear, but she had a second of absence, forcing Perith to urgently unsummon it before it could crash into her. She had been destabilized by Tartaros' reappearance, for his body had been rebuilt without clothes. Fortunately for Sofia and everyone else watching, due to the special nature of this trial, private bits were automatically censored with black bars. Yet the vision of them had reminded Sofia of a conversation with her sister, and all she could think at the time was that Tartaros must have a very high charisma stat. After that momentary lapse in concentration, she regretted her way to Tartaros' back. Tartaros immediately noticed and tried to turn around, but he was stopped not only by Sofia freezing his bones in place, but also by Perith teleporting to Sofia and instantly attacking him with a kick. Faced with a tough decision, he decided to first do what he did prior, freeing one of his arms from Sofia's control to punch back against Perith's kick. The punch erased Perith's leg from existence, but it left Tartaros unguarded against Sofia. His spine burst open creating a hole in his back, and Sofia's draconic armguard plunged inside. With direct touch, the speed at which Sofia could influence his bones was a lot faster. Sofia fused all of Tartaros' bones together into one big piece before warping it full of spikes like a cactus. The Saint of Strength was pierced from the inside by his own bones. Sofia specifically tried to have the bones pierce or entrap his mana heart, but it was too small and moved around too fast for her to catch with the bones. Perith sized himself down while his leg quickly regrew, and he summoned a replica of Sofia's scale armguard as his new weapon of light. Meanwhile, Sofia closely monitored Tartaros' attempts to free himself from her control. Whenever she felt his mana moving around and his muscles flexing, she transformed said muscle into a pincushion with the nearby bones and prevented it from exerting any force. This would not work for long, though, as Sofia was quickly running out of bone to work with. Perith copied Sofia and plunged his hand into Tartaros' body. His strike was fast, precise, and deadly. The clawed fingers of the armguard closed around the tiny black bead and crushed it. Still no murder. Scanning the insides of Tartaros' body, Sofia found a new source of mana that wasn't there before. He's got 2 fucking mana hearts. Wait, no. Sofia understood what the second mana heart was, a bit too late, as its energy swelled up and sent her flying. She hit the mana barrier surrounding the Colosseum's arena, while Perith stumbled back a few steps. It was strength's essence that Sofia had felt. Sofia could easily tell what the skill Tartaros just used was. Avatar of Strength. Mana flesh enveloped Tartaros' bloody body, making him taller and stronger, much like the avatar of Zeus. He laughed as he transformed. Sofia decided to use this time to tear off her tail and summon the hollow grief. That was the best she could do with the little mana she had regenerated. The undead grew from the discarded tail. To Sofia, it looked like a weak and sickly blonde woman wearing a happy smile and a purple flower hairpin. Sofia internally sighed seeing the undead to the guise of her biological mother. This skill isn't getting any easier to use, hey. At the same time, Perith and the newly transformed Tartaros exchanged their first blow. They did not block each other, both strikes landing. Perith's sword landed first, severing the avatar down diagonally from his left shoulder, but it was futile, as the wound instantly closed back up. Then Tartaros's punch hit the skeleton's armor. The simple punch was devastating, like a black hole it sucked in all the air in the Colosseum, the entire casino shook, and Sofia lost a quarter of her health just from the shockwave. Everything in front of Tartaros was gone, even the ground. Perith's skeleton was completely obliterated, yet he had survived. His mana heart had been hiding behind the blade of the admin dagger stuck in his armor. It was not sufficient to fully protect it, but enough that he had survived, since the dagger was completely undamaged. Sofia activated Runeforged Overlord's 3rd level with the tiny amount of mana she had, and grabbed the Hollow Grief's hand and regretted her way to Tartaros' back once again. They punched his spine in unison, right before Runeforged Overlord wore off due to Sofia's mana hitting 0 again. Tartaros fought back by pulling back his extended fist, throwing a backward elbow strike to Sofia and the Hollow Grief. At the same time, the ground of the arena under his feet collapsed, destabilized by his previous punch. Sofia's strike landed while the elbow strike sent a shockwave toward the ceiling as Tartaros slightly fell forward. Taking doubled damage due to the judgment stacks, Tartaros' avatar form was instantly mangled by the 2 punches, his mana heart barely escaped the blow by moving up inside of his body. A white streak flew off from Sofia's location as she reeled back from her own punch, a tiny crow of bones, flying off and entering the avatar's body as it reconstructed in an instant. One should not underestimate the capabilities of a level 299 crow spotting a valuable shiny thing. The avatar's form wavered, and a skeletal crow holding a tiny black bead in his beak burst out from its belly. Crowy tried to crush the mana heart with his beak, but he failed. Behind him, the increasingly unstable form of the avatar readied itself for another punch. Sofia wanted to help but she was too far and completely out of mana, so Crowy did the only logical thing, and turned back to throw himself at the incoming fist. Crowy was instantly pulverized by the attack, and so was the tiny bead held in his beak. You have murdered Tartaros, Saint of Strength LV299EX, they have lost half of held winnings, resulting in a 0 TP loss. Sofia stored Paratha's mana heart with her eye from a distance as her knees gave out beneath her, and she collapsed to the crumbling ground of the arena floor. What a monster! Chapter 674, Master of the Shenanigans. Wahaha! I can't believe this, they actually wiped the floor with you, this is the best, a certain foxy Saintess mocked Tartaros, laughing her lungs out as she rolled on the floor. The recipient of said mockery paid it no mind, watching the screens with a faint smile on his face. Good, is all he had to say. Are you happy that someone finally beat your imprint? Another Saintess asked from the side, her long crimson hair cascading like a fountain of blood behind her back. You do understand you'll have to wait until they ascend if you want a rematch, right? Assuming they ever do, another male saint commented from the back of the room, I've heard not everyone is too keen on the idea of letting them do that. Velour stopped rolling on the floor, her eyes lit up with rage as she flew toward the Saint of Knowledge, and who would that be, Sylvius? Who exactly would mess with a member of the Alliance? I'm curious. You can ask the freak hanging off of the ceiling, I don't feel like telling you. Velour looked up at the ceiling with a frown, she couldn't see anyone but it was likely that the second strongest member of the Alliance was in fact currently there. Arzot, she called out. The creature on the ceiling copied Valour's voice, that is me, it answered without revealing itself. Come on, you heard the question, Velour answered, visibly annoyed. Many lookers, the creature answered, Tato's head enemy, and so do she. Your kind among them? Velour asked next. No, the creature denied, still copying Velour's voice, Zot kind only love, it exclaimed, only love. Zgat said Suhu. Suhu he seed. HMMPF, Tartaros snorted, amused at the Saintess of Love's usual antics. He finally detached his eyes from the screen and turned to look at Velour. You should perhaps worry about your own ascension, leader. Shut up. I'm working on it. If you have any complaints you can pay for a spectator room yourself. Sofia claimed her prize after the duel, Crowy sitting proudly on her shoulder. She felt weak as her transformation just ended, but collecting the reward for her efforts felt great. The skeleton managing the prizes sighed as he gave Sofia 4 lacquered wooden boxes. There you go, 41 million crystal tokens and some change. 41? Shouldn't it be 28? Sofia wondered, but she said nothing. On the off chance that it was a mistake from the casino, she was not about to refuse free tokens. It turned out that this was in fact the 2 wagers plus the added winnings from Parath, Cooley and Morn betting everything they had on their win. After redistributing, Sofia and Parath were left with 33 million tokens. Staying with me now? Sofia asked Parath, who seemed to want to follow her this time. Sure, sure. Pestle and the scouts are still on their mission, so I was going to rob another game or two. Wanna play some dice? After a few minutes of searching for a particular game, Sofia led Parath to a table with only a skeleton dealer and no players. They sat down together in front of the skeleton. New contenders. Do you already know the rules of black die? The dealer asked. He doesn't, please explain for him, Sofia answered him, nodding at Parath. Understood, the attendant said, the rules are quite simple, one of you will throw a die, you can then choose to stop there or to roll a second one. The other person on your team will then do the same. Your goal is to get as close to a total score of 13 as possible. If you go over 13, you instantly lose. After your score is locked in, I will roll as many dice as I want. If I manage to get the same or better score without going over 13, I win, else you do, unless we both have a 13, in which case it is a draw. Lastly, at any time you could throw a dice, you can use the black die instead, which only has 1s and 6s, but that will give me the right to use 2 of them. Sofia nodded along. She already knew the rules thanks to her previous kidnapping of a casino staff. You didn't explain the payout rules, she noted. Yes, I was getting there. You can wager as much as you want at the start of the first game. Every time you beat me in a row, that wager grows by 20%, and you can choose to either go again or withdraw it. If you lose, I keep it all. Oh, and the maximum initial wager is 10 million tokens, but nobody ever bets that much. So, ready for a round? Sofia and Perith both nodded, and the skeleton dealer wasted no time placing 2 white and 2 black dice in front of each. How much will your wager be? Want to start low to get used to the GA? 10 million, Sofia cut him short, placing a box full of token on the table. The words died in the skeleton's non-existent throat, and a flame seemed to light up within his eyes. Oh ho! I see. Serious players. Let's hope you won't regret it. Emptying the contents of the chest on a tray next to him, he looked at Perith. You start. Perith nodded, grabbed a white die, and rolled a 4. Go. Perith grabbed his second white die. 5. By then, Sofia was done observing the repartition of the drawn-on dots on each side of the dice. She grabbed her first die and rolled. She intently watched it roll, predicted where it was going to stop, and did nothing. Lucky. It was a 4, with a team score of 13, the first round was already at worst a guaranteed draw. I'll stop here, Sofia told the dealer with a smile. You did not need to say, the skeleton answered, grabbing his own dice, throwing 2 at once. 2 sixes. The dice aren't tampered with, he's just good at throwing them to get the result he wants, I think. Or he's just lucky. He then grabbed a third white die, and slowly played with it in his hand before throwing it on the red felt tabletop. The die rolled and slowed, hitting an almost perfect equilibrium on an edge between scoring a 1 and 2. Its momentum was going to push it forward to the 1. The skeleton dealer was, in fact, a very good dice thrower. Unluckily for him, the white dice were all made of bone. His die fell back to the 2, netting him a score of 14. Curses, he complained as the die stopped, you win this one. Your wager is now 12 millions. Do you keep going? You don't need more approval than that for handling such a big sum. Sofia asked, curious, but the skeleton just shook his skull in answer. I am one of the managers here, he said, I need no authorization. Really? Well, that's perfect, let's keep going. I go first this time, right? Indeed, the dealer said, quickly putting his own 3 dice back in the big dice bowl on his left. Sofia threw her first die, like last time, she did not alter the result in any way. She needed to keep the cheating to a minimum so as to not get busted, not doing it every roll, and not making the dice roll in unnatural ways. With such an experienced dealer, he would quickly catch on if things looked a bit too odd. She rolled a 5, then a 2, and then it was Perith's turn. Perith seemed to hesitate. He could throw a black die and have 50% chance to get their score directly to 13, but that would also give 2 of them to the dealer, and as they weren't bone, Sofia couldn't manipulate them at all. Stick to the regular ones for now. Perith rolled a 3. Ooh, unlucky. Stop there. Perith nodded to the dealer to signify it was his turn. You would stop at 10? Well, your choice, the dealer said, grabbing and leisurely throwing 2 dice. They were going to stop almost at the same time, Sofia could already tell, this was a pair of 6 again. She gave one of them a very slight push, and it landed on a 3 instead. The dealer was strangely still and silent for an instant as he observed his score. He looked at his hand which had thrown the dice, and without saying anything, grabbed another one. I need to make this one a 5 or 6 for a win. All he needs to win is a 1, if that's what he aims for I can't easily make it 6 since it's on the opposite side. And if he doesn't throw in the correct angle, making it a 5 would also be difficult. What I need is a distraction. As the dealer grabbed his dice and prepared himself to throw it, Sofia faked a sneeze. It was not much, but enough to slightly grab the attention of the dealer. And instead of messing with the die, Sofia very softly gave a tiny twitch to one of the skeleton's fingers as he threw. It was enough to completely ruin his aim and make the roll completely random. There was no need for Sofia to even tamper with the dice after that, she got lucky with the roll, the dealer got a 6. It's our lucky day, Perith. Sofia exclaimed, fake wiping her nose. Only then did the dealer realize that he had messed his roll. He said nothing, but one could read the shock in his skeletal body language. 14.4 million, right? We want to keep going, Sofia announced with a sinister smile. Chapter 675, Caught Bone-Handed. The dealer was flabbergasted as he rolled 3 sixes in a row, taking him way over the line. Looks like it's our win again, Sofia innocently said, 10 times in a row. We should be at around 60 million points, right? Does the casino even have the funds to pay this out? Of course we do. We have a lot more DHA, the dealer started before cutting himself short. Never mind. Are you going to keep playing? Do you want us to? Sofia asked. Honestly I do. If you cash out now I'm not getting my bonus this month anyway, so what's another round or two? You won't keep winning forever. You're a more honest skeleton than I took you for, Sofia said with a thin smile. Let's keep going then. You're right, we can't possibly win forever. It's fun to see the numbers go up, though. It was Peretha's turn to go first. He grabbed a white dice, but it slipped from his fingers, bounced on the corner of the table, then against one of his ribs before rolling under the table. He started bending over to see if he could pick it up, but the dealer stopped him. Leave it, here, have another one. The cleaners will deal with this later. Peretha nodded and grabbed the new die. He rolled a pair of sixes. Oh, difficult position you're in, you have to throw at least one die, so is it finally time you used the black die? The dealer asked, looking at Sofia. This puts me in a bad position. The black die isn't bone, but not using one now when on the surface it ups my chances from 1/6 to 1/2 would be pretty suspicious. I've thrown enough dice now that I'm pretty sure I can guarantee a 1. But then he'll get 2 dice throws I won't be able to influence much. Still, no choice, not taking the black die now would look way too strange. I hardly have a choice, got to roll a 1 now. Sofia grabbed a black die and weighed it in her hand. It was really exactly the same weight as the white ones, just not the same material. Alright, this should be easy. The black die rolled a 1. Thank fuck. Another 13, the dealer grumbled, picking up 2 dice. He did the exact same thing, rolling a pair of sixes, then grabbing a black die. At least I might get the first draw, he complained. As he went to roll the black die, a skeleton waiter, who just happened to be walking behind him carrying a tray of snacks, stumbled. He bumped against the table as he fell, and the dealer's die, which was about to stop on a 1, was kicked up, landing on a 6 instead. The dealer turned around, staring daggers at the waiter. Ocean. Can't you watch where you're walking? Sorry. I think I stepped on a die. Won't happen again, Frank, the waiter apologized while he fixed his tray before scurrying away to serve the snacks to another table. Well, an 11th win for our side. That's about 74 million tokens if I still got my count right. The dealer sighed, just go again already. Sure thing. Sofia picked up a white die. She could tell the dealer was observing her hands closely, looking for any proof of her cheating, as it was starting to get really hard for him to accept these results as being just the result of pure luck. Sofia rolled a pair of 3. Peretha then rolled a 4. Roll 1 more. We can't settle on any score under 12 anymore. With a 10 or 11 it's too easy for him to get a low roll with a white and close with a 6 on his black dice, and I won't be able to do anything about it. Peretha grabbed the dice and threw it. Sofia watched it leave his hand, analyzing the trajectory. Before it even touched the table the first time she could already predict the outcome. 6. She gave it a push with her aura, all the die needed was a tiny bit of help and it would land on a 3 instead of a 6. Something blocked Sofia's aura, intense mana from someone with an aura stronger than hers. Though Infinity Engine prevented other auras from affecting Sofia's mana, it did not prevent them from affecting her own aura. The dice hit the table once, it would soon stop on a 6, with no other choice. Sofia used the toy box for a second time in this event. Time froze as the dice bounced on the felt tabletop. Crap! This comes from above. That much mana. This must be the Lich. He already caught onto what I was doing. I can't use my aura to cheat anymore. How do I save this? There are too many tokens on the line. Sofia spent a few more seconds and stopped time, trying to find a solution. Finally she had an idea. The tabletop was covered in soft red felt. Sofia cancelled the toy box time freeze, and with extreme concentration, she counted the bounces of the dice on the table. The dice lost momentum as it bounced and rolled. Toward the end, it stopped earlier than expected with a slightly wet sound. Both Sofia and the dealer had predicted a 6, but the result was a 3. A single drop of sticky summoned blood, invisible on the tabletop's red felt, had slowed the die enough to stop it. Just like that, Sofia and Perith scored another 13, to the great dismay of the dealer. The dealer was so stunned that his own rolls were shaky after that, and he ended up scoring a 14 without Sofia having to do anything, giving them another win. 89 million, right? I think we'll stop there, Sofia announced, starting to stand up from the table. With her cheating discovered, it was too dangerous to continue. No, the dealer said, his voice strangely deeper than before, please stay. I offer you a double or nothing. Oh? Sofia looked at the dealer through her mana senses, a clear mana thread linked him to the ceiling, the lich was speaking through him, somehow. This feels like a trap. But it's also quite the opportunity. Double the points. After a few seconds of silence, Sofia tried to negotiate, pretending to be uninterested. That's a bit too risky at this point, 89 million points is already more than I need. Triple. I offer you triple the tokens if you win this next one, deal. Sofia pretended to consider it for a bit. All right, but I have another condition, Sofia said, bending over the table to whisper to the dealer, I want you to swear on your phylactery that if we win, you will escort us and our two friends to the exit with our winnings and without any trouble, Mr. A.K. Varad. How's that? The skeleton obviously showed no change in expression, but Sofia could tell the monolink going from his skull to the ceiling wavered a bit at her last words. You drive a hard bargain. So be it then, I swear to uphold these conditions, should you win this next round. If not, all your winnings are forfeit. Great. Sofia sat back down. Pestle. Big news. The lich is distracted. You no longer have to be as sneaky. I'll try to make this last as long as possible, you have maybe a minute where you can go wild. Rob him blind. Looks like she's gonna be beating our score again, Saria told Cynthia. And here I thought 150 million points was a lot. I mean, that got us the historic ranking 3rd place, so it wasn't bad. They're gonna end up getting the new 2nd place at this rate, someone else commented, your sis really ain't playing around even outside of combat. I'm glad we went before her. Told you, Brant, Saria said, she's even worse than me. It's my fault I think, I was her educator early on, sort of. I guessed as much from your stories. Savoln was truly a fucked place back then, I'm glad I had the nose to escape before the ebb rolled around, even if the saint was vehemently against it. Saria nodded along, how do you think you'd fare against Perith now that you've seen him fight a bit more? I kinda want to watch a holy night duel like that. Hard to tell, I'm easily outclassed when your sister is around to strengthen him, in a pure duel. I feel like it would probably be a stalemate. Well, maybe we'll get to see your fake fight them later, I'm curious to see how that turns out, Saria said. Yeah, I'm not. You've seen what they did to the orc. I'll get crushed, won't even be funny to watch. You've been silent Cin, something going on with the gods. Apparently this is the first time the lich shows itself for an actual game instead of just trying to prevent people from leaving, Cynthia answered, so they started having bets again. Saria giggled, Sofia's just naturally good at luring out skeletons. How are the odds now? Brant asked Cynthia. Oh, they've learned their lesson by now. They're almost all betting on her. Chapter 676, Necromancer v Saintess. What happens if we draw? Sofia asked, playing with the dice in her hand. We go until one side wins, the dealer answered without hesitation. Sure thing, Sofia accepted, popping a mana pearl into her mouth like a piece of candy. Perith, you can go first. 1 second, the dealer stopped him, let me get you both a fresh set of dice. All right. The lich controlling the dealer deftly exchanged all of Sofia and Perith's dice to another set from the dice bowl on the table. Does he think we tampered with the dice? He knows to block my aura, but he gives me more bone dice. Makes it pretty clear he doesn't get what my aura does exactly, just that I was using it to cheat somehow. I guess he wasn't watching the battle against Tartaros. Now with new dice, Perith went on with his first roll. With the augmented processing given by the mana pearl, Sofia was able to predict where the die was going to land even faster. Analyzing the trajectory of the dice, it was pretty clear to her that this was a 4 or a 5. The dice hit the table, bounced and rolled just like Sofia predicted. And landed on a 1. What? What the fuck was that? Sofia tried to understand how she could have messed up her prediction so badly. eventually noticing a tiny dent in the tabletop like a mark made by a pressed fingernail in a fruit. No way. It landed right on that minuscule protrusion in the felt and that messed up the landing. Parith threw his second die under Sofia's watchful eyes. That's a 6. Absolutely a 6. The dice landed. It was another 1. This time Sofia had seen it happen. The felt tabletop just indented itself right as the dice was about to land, completely shifting the result. And the worst part was, Sofia had no idea how this had happened. There was no mana movement to speak of, no invisibility trick, nothing. Only then did she remember the event's prompt. Necromancer, hey! Did he watch the dice land, then mess with the table at the landing spot and turn back time without resetting the table until the dice landed on a 1? Also he could cheat without directly messing with the dice itself because I'm watching so closely? That's some next level sneaky shit. But sure. Sure. Let's do that. If I use the toy box freeze again so soon, I won't be able to maintain it for more than a second or two. How do I counter someone who uses magic that shouldn't even exist? It's seamless, too, I didn't notice anything at all. Well? Are you having second thoughts? Considering using a black die perhaps, the dealer asked, looking at Sofia. Yes, I'm thinking, just give me a moment. This isn't exactly a great start for us so. Tough decision. I'd call you out on your cheating if I had any way to prove it. There has to be a limit to what he can do if he wants to stay discreet. I need more time to think. Hey, I was wondering, Sofia said, changing the subject, what do you think about the owner? You said you're a manager here, right? So you must know the guy. Who do you are? Of course I know him, the dealer answered, you needn't ask a manager, in fact, who here hasn't heard of the great A.K. Varad? He's a good boss, yes, a truly good boss. Look at all the undead employed here. Nobody wants us anywhere else, it's very generous of him to give us such a wonderful place to work. Oh boy! Someone has an ego. You're all happy to work here? Sofia asked to keep him occupied while she sneakily threw glances at the dice bowl, testing something out. Undoubtedly. Everyone is delighted to work here. Who could possibly be discontent being the employee of such a powerful and majestic mage? And he's got the best worker benefits. Yes, no one does worker benefits as well as he does. Why do you ask? Oh, I'm just curious, as a necromancer myself. It's not every day one gets to even come close to such a famous arch-lich, you know. I even considered becoming a lich myself, at some point, but it feels like quite the sacrifice to lock your soul in a phylactery like that. Not everybody's got the courage and determination to go through with something like that if they have a choice. Indeed, the dealer answered, visibly pleased by Sofia's brown nosing. Every mage worthy of their name should consider lickidum at some point, but it truly is not for everyone. Ah, that being said, perhaps we should get back to the game. Ah shit. Well. That lasted longer than I assumed it would. This archlich may be powerful but he isn't as overbearing as the event sold him as. While she was distracting the lich, Sofia had been hard at work trying to find a way to scam the scammer, and while countering his time magic seemed like a lost cause, Sofia took the opportunity to attempt an age-old gambler's trick. Even if the lich blocked her aura from influencing thrown dice, there was nothing he could do to stop her from tampering with the ones she had been rolling between her fingers. Since they were still bone dice, she had just played around shifting the bone density within the dice, essentially moving most of the matter, and consequently the weight, to one side so that the die result would be the opposite. It was a stupidly simple plan, but the simple weight dice would perfectly counter the tabletop dent shenanigans, as the results didn't depend as much on the throw itself. Sofia finally threw her die, and as she expected, not even the lich's sneaky dent tactic prevented the weighted die from landing on a 5. Got you. That's perfect. Now he can't make me lose right away with my next throw, since a 6 gets us to 13. It's just a matter of getting a good score in. Can my trick work twice in a row? Sofia's second die was weighed differently, it was more aggressively weighted toward landing on the 6, so much so that the opposite side was almost hollow. Just to make sure things were going to go well, Sofia feigned throwing the die a few times, before suddenly addressing the dealer. A.K. Varad is such a cool name, don't you think? I wonder what origins it has, sounds a bit kleptron, she said out of nowhere, throwing out the die in the middle of her sentence. The Lich was so distracted by Sofia suddenly calling out his name that he apparently did not even mess with the dice. It just landed flatly on the 6, and as far as Sofia could tell, the tabletop was untouched. I can't believe this worked. Aha! You should ask him that yourself if you get the chance, the dealer answered, his gaze fixated on the die Sofia had thrown. Look all you want, everyone already saw it landing on a 6. Though Sofia had done her best to tune the ambient noise and bustle out, the high-stakes game had attracted many onlookers, which must have been part of why the Lich tried so hard to make his own cheating very hard to spot. He clearly worried greatly about his reputation somehow despite running a scam casino. I doubt I would get the honor, sadly, Sofia continued the discussion, either way, it looks like our stay in the casino will end shortly, unless you also roll a 13, I suppose. But what are the chances, right? Right? If one were to look at your records for today, it seems the chances of getting a 13 are quite high. Perhaps we ought to make this game a bit harder. Saying this, the Lich grabbed his first die and rolled a 6. Sofia didn't even see him cheat, for now. Is he going to play safe and roll a 1 next? To Sofia's surprise, the Lich threw his second die, and rolled another 6. What the fuck is he doing? Oh no. That's unlucky. It looks like you might really win now. What should I do? Sofia could almost see the bratty smirk on his skull. Trying to get my hopes up as a destabilization tactic? Or just to have a laugh at my face? I'll have you know, that's an expensive mistake. Go on, throw your last pathetic die, AK Varad. Playing with the bone die in his skeletal hand, the Lich continued to act desperate for a bit, before decisively throwing the final roll. Sofia's focus was maximal. She could tell from the moment the die left the Lich's hand, it was going to be a 1 even without any tricks. Sofia's eyes never left the dice as it bounced and rolled, and then, just as it finally landed on the 1 with a faint thud, she froze the toy box. She could not hold it for long, but she did not need long, just enough to be sure she had everything correctly lined up. Sofia's left eye shone softly for a brief moment as the toy box unfroze and time started flowing its course. 4 dots appeared around the 1 already present on the die's face, as if they had always been there. The Lich had rolled a 5. Previously, when Sofia distracted the Lich with her compliments, she had used her storage eye to steal a dice from the dice bowl. Storage items were usually full of air, and whatever entered the storage space was actually switched in for a similar volume of air from the space. But with advanced control and mastery, it wasn't impossible to switch something for another item from the storage with a similar volume. Like switching a die facing one direction for a similar die facing another. Being able to precisely do that from a distance was not something a regular storage item would allow one to do. But Sofia's eye was no regular item. There was a moment of silence around the table. The dealer wordlessly looked at the die, that not even his time trick could revert to the correct side, as it was a different die entirely. Sofia leaned back on her chair, crossing her legs. If my counts are correct, that will be a total of 267,483,013 tokens, or 26 billion gold, rather, she announced with a condescending smile. I assume you will be paying in stones. Chapter 677, Intruder Detected. Surprisingly enough, it seemed that despite the casino's games all being heavily stacked against the players, the owner's promises were not empty words. Though still pretending to be only a manager, he personally took Sofia to the private VIP exchange desk, while sending other skeletons to fetch Cooley and Morn. Sofia followed Pessel's movements from a distance while she idly chatted with the ghost behind the desk. Is the casino even going to survive such a big payout? She asked, curious about how much could even realistically be won in the event. That it will, you needn't worry about our finances, the ghost answered, though it certainly is a big sum to be withdrawn all at once, and our boss will surely spend the next month cursing your name, the casino will survive nonetheless. Honestly, I half assumed that you would default on the payment and just kick me out. That won't do. Our treatment of lesser customers may be a bit rough. But for big players it can be said that we are walking on eggshells, we have a reputation to maintain. I suppose that's reassuring. Can I know what happens to the less fortunate of the lesser customers? You are talking to one of them, the ghost answered with a sigh. That's about what I expected. Well, no one in the staff here can complain, really, we all knew what we were getting into when we entered a casino run by someone so notorious. Ah, it looks like your money is about ready, give me a second, the ghost said before turning around and flying through a wall. Sofia turned around, Cooley and Morn were just sharing what they did in the little time they'd gotten to actually play while Sofia was making some big bets. It seemed they did not do too bad, Cooley making a good amount playing a regular card game, and Morn gambling her life away on roulette. They did not mind stopping now as they all felt that Sofia's cash out should be more than enough for a first place with maximum tournament points. The ghost quickly came back, one small and one large lockboxes appearing on the desk between him and Sofia. There. Since your winnings were just above 300 million tokens, we included an item valued at 30 billion gold, and made up the difference with mithril and gold ingots, in that large box. An item worth 30 billion? In that tiny box? How do I know I am not getting scammed? Check for yourself, the ghost said with a shrug. I am certain you will understand the value of the items when you see them. There are 2 in the box but you may only take 1. Sofia tried to feel the contents of the box with her mana senses but enchantments inside completely obscured her view. This better not be some kind of mimic waiting to eat my face. Slowly opening the box, Sofia looked inside. It contained a set of 2 small mithril earrings, one with a blue hanging gem and one with a red one, on a bed of white silk. Ooh, mithril? It's not a lot but that should be quite expensive, 30 billion gold for a single one of those, though? A quick identify of the red gem earring convinced Sofia that this was probably more than worth the price. You Tournament Master's Gambler's Fallacy Earring. Carefully crafted from the rarest materials by a genius craftsman, this master earring allows damage you deal to sometimes critically hit, dealing double damage. Base critical hit chance, 7%. Whenever you deal non-critical damage, you gain an additional 7% critical hit chance until your next critical hit. Cannot be destroyed. Must be primed before use. Is only available for purchase if won as a prize during the Gambler's End event and safely retrieved. Price, 777 TP. Whoa! More hidden master items. I'm not sure of the math here, but the effective double damage chance with this on. Feels like it's probably around 20%? I'm not too sure how I would calculate that. If I could time that well with a big bolt. It's probably a better item for people like Izarid who have attack with many projectiles thought. That with the Master Hydra bow would be incredible, I bet. Not too sure it's the best for either me or Perith though, but it does come with a discount compared to the other master items, which is nice. Maybe the other one will be better suited for us? You Tournament Master's all-in earring. Carefully crafted from the rarest materials by a genius craftsman, that master earring give a multiplicative buff of plus 77% to any one main stat of your choosing and its 3 related substats. Applied after all other modifiers. Must be primed before use. Chosen stat cannot be altered after priming. Becomes a permanent part of your body. Consumes 2 skill slots. Your 2 other main stats base growth per level is set to 0. They will now only grow from overcoming the filters. Is only available for purchase if won as a prize during the Gambler's End event and safely retrieved. Price, 777 TP. Sofia audibly gulped, reading the description several times. Lord! I need this. We need this. Doesn't even matter who buys it, doesn't even matter that it consumes 2 skill slots. I could get 77% increased mana? Perith could get 77% increased health? Even for Alith, she could get 77% increased stamina? That. Well. We can only buy 3 uniques each. That's our first spot taken. And if I get the 10 gold star pins, it will only be 700 million TP with the 10% discount. That's a whole 200 million cheaper than the regular master items. So? You do understand these items' value, right? The ghost asked, as Sofia was silent. I do. It is certainly not a scam, I have no complaints. Assuredly. Then, which one will you take? The one with the blue gem, Sofia answered, out of curiosity. Do you know where these earrings come from? Did Akavarad himself make them, perhaps? I do not believe we have any information on who the craftsman is, but if you must know where we procured those, as one of the oldest employees here, I can tell you. Someone used them as a wager in a game of cards in the early days of the casino, of course, they lost. And these have been waiting in our coffers ever since. Really? The early days of the casino you say? What did they look like? The ghost frowned slightly as he tried to remember the details. It was quite some centuries ago. From what I recall, it was a young woman. I would be hard-pressed to give even the most basic description. I fear, my memory is not what it once was, and I believe they only visited once. But I do remember they were quite cheerful despite the monumental loss, which struck me as quite odd, back then. I see. The ghost looked at Sofia's face and his expression shifted, as he seemed to remember something. Right. She had strange hair, much like you do. Is my hair so weird? It's just a bit shiny. That is quite unusual, yes, the ghost deadpanned, but, back to the point, I do remember now, that her hair was a rather unusual dark shade of blue. Certainly not something one sees every day. Interesting, thank you for the information. I doubt I'll ever get to meet that person, if that was centuries ago, but good to know these aren't, like, stolen property. That is slightly insulting, but admittedly not totally undeserved. The blue gem earring, then, are you sure? Absolutely. The ghost carefully took the earring out of the box, after disarming some of the enchantments inside, and also opened the other coffer revealing the ingots of precious metal inside. Sofia collected the team's winnings and after that, the ghost led them all to the casino's actual entrance and exit for valued customers. It was a rather long tunnel with a red carpet, its walls covered in enchantments, going up in a light slope toward the surface. The group had a light-hearted chat as they walked though, discussing Sofia's dice game, until Cooley stopped and asked Sofia. Wait, Sofia, did you not have some of your skeletons in the casino? Did you leave the crow behind? Sofia turned around with a creepy smile. Of course not, I unsummoned them all a long time ago, a necromancer worth their bones would never let their skeletons behind, she said, lying through her teeth. In truth, Pestle had gone very deep inside of the casino's underground floors while Sofia had kept the lich's attention. Ever since then, she had stopped moving. Since Pestle hadn't unsummoned herself, she likely had not been captured or anything like that. In Sofia's mind, this could only mean one thing. Pestle was waiting. Waiting for what exactly was uncertain, but she would have to move before Sofia left the casino and the event ended for her, so she would know soon. Pestle. I can see the exit. Whatever you're trying to do, now's your last chance. Sofia felt Pestle start to move. With her action came the deafening sound of an alarm, as the entire casino shook, drowned in bright red lights. There we go. Chapter 678, Secret Leg. Why this place so big? Where leg? Silently flying in between the legs of a skeleton guard who couldn't see her, Pestle was surprised by a sudden communication from Sofia. Pestle. Big news. The lich is distracted. You no longer have to be as sneaky. I'll try to make this last as long as possible, you have maybe a minute where you can go wild. Rob him blind. Not sneaky? Pestle stopped in her tracks. If Sofia with lich and Pestle not sneaky. Alarm lich make Sofia danger, no? Not very smart, Sofia. You sure Fey descendant not klepra? Despite her light-hearted criticism, Pestle decided to be sneaky faster, which involved teleporting through walls and dispelling the weaker alarm enchantments instead of going around them. The security seemed to go up every time she went down a floor, so she took every opportunity to descend to the lower levels, until she arrived at a floor that looked just like the one she had started from, a luxurious casino with game tables everywhere, except with much fewer people. Is Pestle also klepra? Fly a loop. Pestle still felt through her link to Sofia that she was very far underground compared to her, so there was no doubt this was a different floor, even if it looked the same. Keep go down for leg. Before going, Pestle gave another look at the few people playing on this floor. Ack. Someone looked back, another Fey. Hello there, Ravager 1. What is one of your kind doing sneaking around in such a place? Is there a fight to be found here? Hello Diamond 1. Pestle is doing robbery. Pestle answered telepathically. Robbery? Is someone in this room your target? The other fairy asked, seemingly amused by the idea, that dragon in the corner maybe? Do you want help? No help, Diamond 1. Robbery lich because fun. The Necromancer? I see. Have fun, then, Ravager 1. Try not to kill him too permanently if you can. I do enjoy this place. This one understand. Very fun to you, Diamond 1. The other Fey discreetly nodded and turned back to her game of cards, cutting the telepathic link. Very luck at a Diamond 1. The danger avoided, Pestle quickly fled the scene through a vent before anyone else noticed her presence. Trying to get away as fast as she could, she quickly made it to the casino's very last floor. Surprisingly, after getting past the two banshees guarding the last set of stairs, there was no one else guarding the last floor's entrance. Pessel's claws tore through several enchanted mithril doors, before she made it to the Lich's living quarters. Oh! This why no guard? Pessel thought, standing in front of the last door, pushing her senses to look through it before breaking it. The interior of the Lich's quarters was fully enchanted by aura crystal alarms. The aura crystals were the origin of the concept of priming items. They could be filled with one's mana, which would then be released if anyone else's mana even entered the aura of the crystal, hence the name. It was a very high-end alarm trigger, capable of detecting even someone who could forcibly suppress their mana, but it meant any kind of security guard would also trigger the alarm, so only one person could be allowed in the secured zone. But it no work on Ravager 1. Lich think Ravager 1 not exist? Why insulting? Lich must be klepra also. Very robbery now. Pessel moved the mana around her to create currents. Using a single finger, she pierced a tiny hole through the mithril door. The mana currents sucked some mana out of the Lich's quarters without letting any in. When she felt there was probably enough, Pessel pinched the metal of the door to close the hole back. She deactivated all of her magic, expulsing it backwards to where she came from, almost dying in the process, and as her skeleton crumbled, she absorbed the mana she had drawn from the Lich's quarters, using it to sustain herself, and activate her magic again. Using everyone else's mana was always what the Monolith Fae did. To trick an aura crystal alarm was child's play, she just needed to use the Lich's own mana. Pessel did the process again and cycled her mana another time, to make sure none of the exterior mana remained with her. With that done, she pierced the hole a final time, teleported to the other side through it, and closed it up again. Just like that, she was inside, and the alarm wasn't triggered. Where leg? Since Pessel had no storage item, she could only bring back something she could carry to Sofia, ideally something not too big. She began searching, opening drawers and chests. Anything mildly valuable she found that wasn't directly visible, she ate. Not only did it help her hunger, it would teach the Lich a lesson, she thought. And it would take some time for him to find out, hopefully enough for Sofia to be safely far away. Pessel stopped in front of a scepter in a display case. Leg? She wanted to eat it but that would be too obvious, so she left it and continued to search. That wasn't a good enough prize for Sofia. Pessel followed the alarm's mana circuits, thinking that wherever there were the most alarms was probably where the most valuable thing was. It did not take her long to find what she was looking for, a small round antechamber with 3 locked doors, with walls fully enchanted with even more protections, and a big aura crystal embedded in the floor at the center. Pessel pressed her tiny skull against each locked door, feeling her way inside. The left room had the scariest looking enchantments, and it oozed with the Lich's mana, which made its contents pretty obvious. Philalery here. Useless. The center room had Pessel reel back when she felt what was inside. Ack. Lich here. He no see Pessel, distracted. Pessel felt the insides again. Moving. Panicking, Pessel pierced and teleported through the last door without even checking what was inside. The center door opened, a cursing skeleton walking out of it. What was that? Since when is a random necromancer such an advanced space mage? Hey! Fuck! Pessel silently waited for the Lich to go away. I can't believe she got me with such a stupid trick. And with the Empress watching, too. Fuck! 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 Why did I even accept the triple? I'm stupid. Shit! The Lich slowly walked away, calling Sofia a flurry of distasteful names that would have made Pessel frown, had she had a proper face. She turned around, looking at the item locked in a display case under more and more layers of alarms. It was an old book, which had to be very precious, considering how well secured it was. Now robbery. Pessel slowly observed the enchantments surrounding the display case. Though she understood little about the practice of enchanting itself, reading the flow of mana and deducing what it would do was as natural a breathing for a fairy. From what she could tell, breaking the protection and grabbing the book wouldn't be too hard, but it would trigger several enchantments, some of which she could not predict the result of, as only the trigger itself was in this one room. If Pessel robbery now maybe Sofia danger. What if? Hiding here until end? Hope Lich no see broken doors. With her new strategy in mind, Pessel peeled off one of the outer orichalcum layers of the room's floor, sat in a corner with it in hand, and started slowly munching on it, waiting for news from Sofia. Finally, after Pestle chewed through 2/3 of the room's flooring, she heard from Sofia again. Pestle. I can see the exit. Whatever you're trying to do, now's your last chance. Chance. Time for rob him blind. She rejoiced, jumping up and landing on top of the display case. With a punch, she broke through the enchanted glass and grabbed the old book. Loud alarms rung, mana chains appeared out of nowhere, tightly wrapping around Pestle, and a vast quantity of mana came from the other side of the floor toward Pestle. The lich was coming. Pestle had thought she could break through the magic chains, but it seemed she had slightly overestimated her capabilities, as she found herself completely unable to move. She simply was not as strong as her instincts told her, as such a low-level fae was not even supposed to exist. Ack! Pestle is Klepra after all. Just as Pestle was wondering if she should kill herself right then and there to at least free Sofia of suspicion, the world around her shifted to a white void. Fourth wave, Gambler's End, completed. As the alarms rung, Sofia and the others ran toward the exit. The event should end as soon as we're out. Hold on, Pestle. The exit gate had closed as soon as the alarm had started to ring, several layers of enchantments sealing it shut. Let me deal with the door. Cooley called out, jumping to the front of the group, crushing palm. She struck the closed gate with her open palm. For just a moment, it seemed to do nothing, after which, the gate suddenly burst open, its enchantments all breaking and failing to activate. As soon as Cooley jumped through the broken gate, she disappeared. Everyone jumped after her. Congratulations on completing the event. You have been transported to a waiting room while we review your performance and wait for all participants to complete the event. In the meantime, you may say the name of your teammates out loud to spectate them if they are still ongoing. Sofia had been separated from the others. Cooley and Morn were nowhere to be seen in the white void, but Perith, Pestle, Crowy, and the other scouts were all there. The earring and the ingots are all gone, as expected. Hey? Sofia. Pestle rejoiced, seeing that she got her attention. Very robbery, she exclaimed, holding up the book above her head with both hands. You managed to take something out of the event. Did you do something special? Pestle tilted her skull to the side. Special? No special. Leg robbery. Let me see. Sofia grabbed the book from Pestle. Its cover and spine were blank, so she opened it and read the first page. Secrets of Chronomancy. Chapter 679, Backdoor Access. Sofia turned the page, and to say the least, what she read there was not what she had expected. According to all known laws of magic, there is no way that time magic should be able to fail. What I mean is, the goddamned spells are correct. The patterns are good, the flow is good, the activation is good, triggers, morphing and cohesion all good. And yet, it doesn't fucking work. This is driving me crazy. It's like reality itself decided that, no, in fact, this in particular wasn't allowed, when every other type of stupid magic you can think of from teleportation to ex nihilo matter creation works just fine. Time magic would unlock so many possibilities. I might even be able to understand what happened to Earth. But no. I'm stuck here, still, always. At the other end of the fucking universe. Infuriating. Even if I looked in the correct direction, the light from the Earth's formation probably wouldn't have reached this accursed hellhole yet. I get to see further out from here, at least, and it all just keeps going. I suppose that gives the infinite universe theory some merit. Those were the contents of the first 2 pages after the title, the handwritten meltdown of someone whose handwriting Sofia was starting to get familiar with. Jin's diary about his research on time magic? Why would he hide this here? Was this easy to get? Sofia asked Pestle. No, she answered, shaking her tiny skull left to right, only Pestle can get. Or other fae. So this was here for nobody to find, hey? Well, it certainly fell in good hands now. Good job retrieving it, Pestle. If good, give leg. Sure, will do, as soon as we're out of here. Sofia looked back down at the diary. This is interesting information. Poor man, he wasn't even wrong, I guess, time magic not working when time is. Yeah, sounds correct. Earth. So this is confirmation that he was from Alitha's world, though that was pretty obvious. But we're at the other end of the universe? The other end compared to what? Does that mean he really just left to go check on his old world? Orator called it a fruitless dance, I think. A past long lost? Maybe he couldn't see his world because it's gone already? That would make sense considering the kind of weapons they seemed to have. Everell seemed pretty certain that her paperclip thing could destroy it at least. Whatever the case, it looks like he really was not happy being stuck here. No wonder he ended up leaving. And well, I can imagine. Alitha's family was already gone, but if, let's say, I were to get suddenly summoned to another world right now, no matter how good it could be there, I would definitely come back to Viliadron if I can. It's not even a question. Lastly, infinite universe theory. As opposed to what, finite universe? Like we live in a bubble? What's on the other side, then? Even if the answer is nothing, isn't nothing just more universe, so it's still infinite? From what I've seen, it sure didn't look like there were limits. Maybe I can ask Auntie Ormoncleith if I ever get to talk to her again. I don't know what I would want the answer to be. Finite would feel a bit sad, and claustrophobic was the word, I think. Meanwhile, infinite is scary in a different way. Are there more pages? Sofia turned the page, and there indeed was more, in a purple ink instead of black, that time, but without a doubt still from Jin. I see I am still terrible at keeping personal diaries. What a waste of paper. I suppose I should still pen down my new findings, just in case someone ever reads this hoping to find something useful. Me and... well, not me actually, my friend has acquired a spell capable of simulating reality. It took quite a bit of effort from everyone involved to make it work, but we did. It works pretty much like the real world, except it is nothing but a big simulation of mana, like a video game basically. The Vermo we all dreamed of back in the day, just a bit more expensive to run that we thought. Only needed a totally unknown source of energy to work. And the wild part about all of this is, time magic works. It works in the fake worlds. I still don't get why exactly. It's kind of like as if the fake world was such a perfect simulation, that everything just works. While the real world, the genuine universe we all live in, it's old and scarred, and some things that should work just no longer do. And it's not just time magic. The gods of this world, their magic works aside from everything else. It's strange. It's just a pet theory of mine, but I think they are like the failure of time magic. The result of another such scar. I don't see how else. Nothing about them makes any sense otherwise. Even asking them directly, they cannot explain, they do not understand their own existence any more than we do. But I digress. If you hope to find time magic within these pages, sorry, but I've tried everything, it's just impossible. Sofia scratched her head reading through Jin's ramblings. There are a bunch of words I don't understand in there. But he found the toy box and time magic works here. I mean, isn't the entire point of the toy box to be able to make and play around with things, even ones that do not actually exist? It's a toy box, that's in the name. His guess about why the magic fails is basically fully correct, in a way. Just that he obviously could not know about the true reason. The human admin truly had a good instinct to understand that. But his comments about gods. This was clearly written after he met Anna, maybe even after the system was created. He doesn't elaborate much, but it's an interesting idea. Wouldn't that mean, though, that there is another dead lord? What if there were two lords, Time and another? If Time's death created two more lords? I'm pretty sure those are Orator and Afinareth. They look the same, after all. It's possible that Idrazaketh and Ormoncleith are the split parts of another lord, isn't it? So Time killed the other, then Idrazaketh killed Time, as revenge, maybe? What kind of a scar would give birth to the gods, though? Concept? They are all tied to one. I don't know. Sofia half expected Orator's pretentious voice to come out of the book's pages, but there was only the soft rattling of Pessel's bones as she ran and cartwheeled around the white void space they were stuck in. She turned the page. After some reflection, it is a bit of a waste for all these spells to go to waste, even if they are useless as is, perhaps something can yet be learned from them? Or perhaps I am reluctant to erase 30 years of work just because the final result was different from what I hoped. I'll just jot down a few time spells at the end of this diary for posterity. Oh. Sofia flipped the book, opening it from the last page, only to find that the last few pages had all been torn off. Got my hopes up for nothing. Turning the diary back to the previous pages, Sofia read the next entry. Anna isn't usually a fan of destroying knowledge. I wouldn't have been surprised if she told me she was actually the goddess of books, but she requested that I destroy all the records of my time spell research. She doesn't want it to interfere with the trial we are painstakingly setting up for the future generations. I have to agree with her. I did not feel like destroying the entire diary. Mostly because of my doodles in the middle pages, truthfully, but whatever the case, I just ripped off the spell schematics and that's that. For anyone reading this, if you hope to find time magic in here to cheat in your trials, sorry but it is what it is. Even if we urgently need more mana for the core, we cannot let just anyone attain power. There are more than enough problematic people among the Ascended already. Climb by your own strength. Note, since next page is page 13, I'll leave it empty. I always found this kind of thing ridiculous, but if someone else from Earth reads this, at least maybe the idea by itself made you smirk. Oh how naive we were, as a civilization, debating over the existence of gods, when beings far scarier have lurked in planes unknown since the beginning of times. The last paragraph made Sofia raise an eyebrow, not only because she failed to understand what leaving the 13th page empty meant, but also because she could somewhat see through the paper that the next page was not blank at all. Flipping the page answered part of her question. Just kidding, if you were born human, you should be able to read this page just fine. Anna would probably be able to read it too, but she's a special case, and she wouldn't look into my things without my permission, so we're safe. Anyway, I left a special vocal command in the system, so one fellow human can cheat, kind of. Is this blatant favoritism? Yeah. Who can blame me, though? Ascended humans can be counted on one hand as I write these lines, our poor race can certainly use the help. I won't make things too easy for you, but I left a little present hidden in the system's code, and the command will give it to you. You can even use it during a trial, it's fine, but it's a one-time thing, so if it doesn't work, unlucky, someone else found it first. All you have to do is, with a loud and clear voice, say, I was born with a golden spoon, fork the present or get the knife. Sofia quickly read through the page. Can spectators still see me now? Certainly there were humans watching, if so. Hence Sofia wasted no time. I was born with a golden spoon, fork the present or get the knife. The skeletons looked at Sofia like she had said something weird, which she had, but she did not mind in the slightest. Execution successful. Running function, the cake is not a lie. You have received, strawberry cream cake *1. You have received, timely golden cutlery set *1. You have received, human racial skill ticket *1. This function will now self-destruct, cakes can only be eaten once. Chapter 680, Save My Peace. A box wrapped in pink paper and a white ribbon appeared in front of Sofia. Is leg? Pestle asked, surprised at the appearance of the box. Maybe, actually, let me open that, Sofia answered her, as Parith and Bookie also walked up to the box. She pulled on the ribbon and the sides of the box fell out, revealing the contents. As the messages had announced, the largest part was a white cake topped with red fruits on a golden platter, looking a lot like the one from Zangdar's previous owner, which was still in her storage ring. Aside from that, there was a small box likely containing the cutlery set, and a literal paper ticket with golden print saying Human Racial Skill Awakening Ticket, tier to use. Pestle earned the cake, it's hers, Sofia decided, a quick identify revealing that the cake was indeed just that, a cake. Cake. Pestle rejoiced, throwing her hands up. Can't we have a small taste too? Bookie asked Sofia. Sofia shrugged, ask Pestle. Pestle nodded happily, everyone cake. Someone is feeling generous? Alright, give me a second, I'll make a proper table and chairs for everyone, you can open the cutlery set in the meantime if you want. Pestle opened the box with the cutlery as Sofia was setting up the bone table, and Sofia threw some quick identifies to the items. Golden spoon of meals past, retains the aroma of the last dish eaten. Golden fork of meals present, enhances the flavor of the dish you are eating. Golden knife of meals future, enhances the cutting of the dish you will be eating. Timely golden cutlery, full set bonus, everything you eat with the cutlery set is more filling and delicious. Some items these are. Pestle, Sofia called out, do you want them? I can't use the knife myself. Very want. Pestle use human weapon now, she said, grabbing the knife and fork and swinging them around. Sofia chuckled, it was true that in Pessil's hands, they looked more like a big machete and a trident. Glad you like them, you're the one who got the book after all. Do you want to cut the cake yourself or should I do it? I cut. Pessil answered, raising her knife. Sure, be gentle all right? Don't cut the table, Sofia told her while she grabbed and ripped the skill ticket. Pessil very be gentle. You have used, human racial skill ticket, defunct, *1. Your blueprint will be permanently altered as you prematurely awaken one of the 3 human racial skills that are normally only attained upon ascension. You may only pick one at this time. Tabula rasa allows you to freely and easily delete any of your skills with minimal to no scarring. Natural inspiration greatly facilitates skill alteration when copying attributes of a skill you understand but do not possess. Convergent evolution allows you to freely and easily fuse your skills together. Oh! I expected nothing but these are actually great. If I understand what this says correctly, any human who reaches level 500 gets all 3. That's pretty incredible. By then most people's skill set must be pretty locked in place, but this would allow a human ascended to keep modifying and improving their skills forever with little drawback. Which one do I take is the question. Tabula rasa is infinite skill ablation tickets, potentially even more efficient. It's not bad but I don't think I want that. I would probably take this if I had more time to learn new things, but I really don't. So it's either natural inspiration or convergent evolution. One is infinite skill fusion tickets and the other is like an advanced mana manipulation I guess. The fusion is definitely the better for a fast power upgrade. I could clean up my classless skills by fusing everything and that would leave me with plenty of skill slots. It's definitely tempting, especially with the earring potentially eating 2 of my skill slots in the future. There's a limit to what fusion can do though. I'll run out of blueprint space no matter what at some point. And the other argument against convergent evolution is just that the system itself provides skill fusion tickets, even if they are few and far between. Natural inspiration on the other hand. It's unclear how good it is. What counts as understanding a skill? How much does it help? Either way if I pick it, it will take a long time to produce good results. Admittedly I'll have plenty of that after this trial while I repay my specialization debt. Sofia was about to ask Mr. Scribe for his opinion on the matter, while Pessil was finally decided on how she wanted to cut the cake, when another person appeared in the white void as the knife touched the cake. Stop! The man in a black suit cried out, freezing Pessil in place. Sofia looked at the intruder completely stunned, as Perith teleported in between them. Ah! The man said, visibly embarrassed. Now you show yourself. To steal Pessil's cake? Sofia asked, incredulous. The man sighed and unfroze Pessil, a terrible mistake on his part, as it took very little time for the knife and fork to end up lodged inside of both his eyeballs instead of the cake. My leg, you klepra, the furious fairy accused, as she considered whether Sofia would be annoyed at her for killing the man. Said man sighed again, grabbing Pessil with one hand and removing the cutlery from his face with the other. He turned to Sofia as the struggling fairy bit his hand. This is not how I expected our first meeting to go either, he explained. But I am here to steal the cake, yes. Part of it, at least. Anna would kill me if she discovered there was a cake and I didn't make sure there's a part left for her. Pessil, you can stop struggling, Sofia said, you can move too Perith, we both know nothing can save me if this guy wanted to kill me now. But it's not an enemy. Probably not. Probably not, the man repeated. Well, assuming you really are who you look like you are, which seems likely considering this is still inside of a trial, after all, you are still one of the least trustworthy individuals around, in my opinion, Sofia told the man who looked exactly like the one in the picture she had found in the admin's house on Cerberus Beta. I am. You would consider the worst war criminal in known history and the Lords your close family but I am where you draw the line. Nex asked back, finally letting go of Pessil, who still deemed necessary to leave a claw mark across the man's face before flying to stand in between him and the cake. Even putting aside the dubious first impression you are making today, who is the admin who abandoned the system to go mess with the deep for unknown reasons? Who left their companions behind on the warped moon? Who told Remia they would save her only to let her rot in a fake world for 3,000 more years? Who designed a system with trials that will actually kill some of the participants? Who could not even send the slightest acknowledgement or thank you notification for being brought back almost entirely thanks to me? Who had a hand in creating the weird fucked up Saint system? Do you need me to continue? Enough, I get it. Nex stopped her. I understand your frustration, he said calmly, I have barely had time to look through your records, but I do get it, truly. I got echoes from Aredes already, trust me. Everything I have done, however, misguided or not, was in service of the greater good, whether you understand it or not. Explain yourself, then. You can alter the scale of time in the trial. Then stay here and explain. I think I am involved enough in everything by now that I deserve at least that. So be it. Your view of me is earned, I suppose, if incomplete. You might not have the best impression of me, but I assure you there is a reason for everything. Ask and you will get answers, Nex offered, summoning a new bone chair for himself. Is anyone else watching us now? Sofia asked first. The high scribes only, Nex answered. Good. Then, first question, explain what you were doing in the deep. The book in your hand is quite relevant, Nex answered. I was looking for a way to turn back time. Why? To bring someone back. Jin? Sofia asked. You certainly know a lot. Of course I do, my name isn't just for show. Is there no way to bring him back other than turning back time? If there was, he would have returned by himself long ago, Nex explained. He played around with magic that should not be used, and disappeared. Anna became mentally unstable with his disappearance, and it seems that you more or less understand where that all led us. And how is Anna right now? Nex's expression turned dark.